Hey there, Warriors fans. Tonight, we saw something that felt like a breath of fresh air. The Golden State Warriors finally managed to string together wins against teams they're supposed to beat, and even if it wasn't a flawless performance from start to finish, the result was exactly what we needed. An 11-point victory over the Phoenix Suns to bring the record to 5-3. Definitely nothing to complain about. There were moments in the game that had me questioning rotations, play calls, and even the sanity of our coaching staff, but then the team would find a rhythm, and it all started to make sense. One of the biggest surprises tonight came from the bench, and I have to give credit where it's due. I was sitting on my couch watching the game, and right after a couple of quick threes from Colin Gillespie that closed the gap to 10 points, I saw Pat Spencer subbed in. My first thought was, what is Kerr thinking? Bringing in Pat at a moment like this felt like the worst-case scenario. But within minutes, Pat completely silenced my doubts. He controlled the offense with a poise and vision I haven't seen from a Warriors player in a long time, especially in the pick and roll. Paired with TJD, who also had a solid night from the backup center spot, Spencer made plays that shifted momentum back to Golden State. He hit a huge three when we needed energy the most, and defensively, he had multiple steals and closed out beautifully on drives to the basket. Honestly, the guy played like a veteran with everything to prove, and tonight he delivered. It's the kind of performance that makes you sit back and realize the depth on this roster might be stronger than we give it credit for. While Spencer stood out, there were other key moments that shaped the game. The Suns managed to cut a big lead down to 8 points at one point in the second half, and I'll admit, I was worried. But the Warriors showed resilience. Even when the game felt tense, even when the threat of a clutch comeback was looming, Golden State found a way to execute the plays they needed. It wasn't a night of flawless shooting from Steph Curry, nor was it Draymond Green's best performance, but the bench stepped up in a way that reminded us of the team's potential. Moses Moody, for instance, looked confident on both ends of the court, defending Phoenix's top scorers and making smart plays when the team needed it most. His presence off the bench has been inconsistent, but tonight he looked like the player we all hope he becomes, a reliable contributor who can change the flow of a game. And then there's Quentin Post. Let's talk about Post for a second. There's no argument left to be made about whether he deserves consistent minutes. Post has proven he can stretch the floor, knock down threes, and run the pick and roll at a high level. Tonight, he hit multiple threes early in the game, and yet somehow, teams still didn't adjust their defense against him. That spacing is exactly what Golden State needs, and Post is proving he could be a foundational piece for this team. From a defensive standpoint, he's been excellent as well, even when matched up against bigger players from the Suns. The way he reads the floor, positions himself for rebounds, and contests shots shows a maturity in his game that is hard to ignore. For me, it's clear Post should be a starter when healthy and must see consistent minutes because he gives this team an element they desperately need for both offense and defense. Steph Curry had an interesting night. Shooting 5 of 12 from three-point range might seem just okay for anyone else, but for Steph, it's a solid night by his standards. 9 of 23 from the field shows he's still trying to find his rhythm, especially with Jimmy Butler out for part of the second half. There's always been debate about how the league officiates Curry's drives and attempts, and frankly, it doesn't seem consistent with how other elite players are treated. The lack of calls on shooting fouls when Steph attacks the rim has been noticeable, and while he's finding some of those calls now, it's still an issue that affects his offensive flow. Despite that, he managed to lead the team effectively, finding open teammates and hitting shots when it mattered. The bench really was the story of the night, though. Buddy Hield contributed with timely threes, and Pat Spencer, as mentioned, had a legacy-type performance. Moses Moody showed the flashes of defensive tenacity and shooting confidence that could make him a crucial piece moving forward. Even Kuminga had moments where he showed why he needs the ball more in these rotations. When the star players are off the court, it's essential for others to take control, and Kuminga demonstrated glimpses of that potential. If the coaching staff leans into giving him the ball more during these stretches, it could open up a whole new dynamic for the Warriors' second unit. Looking at the box score, even with Jimmy Butler sitting out the second half due to lower back soreness, he still finished plus 17, highlighting his impact on the team beyond just scoring. Draymond played heavy minutes, and was solid across the board with assists, rebounds, and defensive plays. Steph, Kuminga, and Post all contributed decently, and the game underscored the importance of distributing minutes wisely to keep the team's rhythm intact. Tonight, rotations and adjustments worked, and that's not something you can take for granted with a team that's balancing new roles, bench depth, and star player absences. Ultimately, the Warriors found a way to close the game despite the challenges. The Suns didn't make it easy, and at times the game felt closer than it should have. But Golden State showed a growing identity, resilience, strategic bench contributions, and smart execution in critical moments. These are exactly the signs you want to see from a team navigating the ups and downs of a season, especially in the Western Conference where every win matters. It wasn't perfect, but it was effective, and that's what counts when you're aiming to climb the standings and prepare for tougher matchups ahead. Picking up from where we left off, one of the more fascinating aspects of tonight's game was seeing how the Warriors' bench seamlessly adapted to high-pressure moments. In past games, we've seen the team struggle when the starters sit. But tonight, it was a completely different story. Moses Moody was aggressive both offensively and defensively. His confidence in hitting threes and contesting Phoenix's best player, Devin Booker, made a noticeable difference. Even without Jimmy Butler fully available for the second half, Moody's energy helped stabilize the lineup. He made smart rotations, navigated screens effectively, and demonstrated that when he's locked in, he can change the tone of the game in a matter of minutes. That's exactly the kind of presence Golden State needs from its second unit if they want to maintain consistency over the long season. Pat Spencer's emergence in crucial minutes also showcased the Warriors' depth. There have been times where adding another guard in rotations felt unnecessary or even questionable, but tonight proved that having versatile players ready to step up is invaluable. Spencer didn't just fill space. He created plays, managed the floor, and brought momentum at exactly the right moments. That kind of performance is rare from a player who doesn't see heavy minutes regularly, and it underscores an important theme for this season. The Warriors are more than their stars. They're building a roster where role players can significantly impact the outcome, and that balance could be the difference in close games down the line. Quentin Post continues to impress with his ability to stretch the floor. Hitting three-pointers consistently, he forces defenders to respect his range, opening lanes for Curry and the others. Tonight, his combination of shooting and smart pick-and-roll decision-making was a major factor in keeping the Suns at bay. On the defensive end, even when he was matched up against bigger, more experienced centers, he held his ground, blocked shots, and positioned himself perfectly for rebounds. Post-development is crucial because he allows Kerr to deploy lineups that maximize spacing without sacrificing defense. And watching him gain confidence in these situations is encouraging for the team's future. If Post continues to receive consistent minutes, it could completely reshape how the Warriors approach both regular season and playoff rotations. Steph Curry's performance, though not perfect, was a reminder of just how much he carries the team. 5 of 12 from 3 might seem just okay, but in the context of this game, it was enough. Curry's vision, decision-making, and ability to involve teammates, even when his shot isn't falling, creates opportunities that few other players can generate. The discrepancy in officiating for Curry's drives, where he often doesn't receive the same fouls other stars do, remains a talking point, yet he still manages to execute at a high level. This season, finding a rhythm while adjusting to teammates' minutes, injuries, and rotations is an ongoing process. But Curry is showing he can carry the load when necessary, keeping Golden State competitive in every game. Kuminga's role tonight is another point worth examining. He has the talent to handle the ball and create opportunities, but it's clear that rotations must be managed to fully utilize his abilities. When Steph or Jimmy Butler sits, Kuminga needs to be the primary ball handler more consistently, because he's proven he can take control and produce. There were moments where the offense stalled when both Curry and Kuminga were off the floor, highlighting a delicate balance the coaching staff has to maintain. Moving forward, giving Kuminga more touches and freedom in these stretches could unlock a level of efficiency for the second unit that hasn't been fully realized yet. It's about finding the sweet spot where his creativity meshes with the team's spacing and tempo, And tonight, we saw glimpses of what that could look like. Defensively, the Warriors showed promising adjustments. Even when the Suns cut into a large lead, Golden State responded with rotations, helped defense, and timely steals from players like Moody and Spencer. It's moments like these that demonstrate a developing identity. The team isn't perfect. There were breakdowns, miscommunications, and stretches where the offense looked stagnant. But the ability to recover, maintain composure, and execute the right plays is a testament to the growth of this roster. Tonight, it wasn't just about the stars. It was about cohesion, anticipation, and players stepping up to fill gaps. That's a mentality that can carry a team far in a long season and in critical playoff scenarios. Looking at the broader picture, tonight's one emphasizes how the Warriors can compete even when things aren't ideal. Jimmy Butler leaving the game due to lower back soreness, Draymond Green not being at his best, and Steph Curry adjusting his rhythm all could have derailed the team. Yet, the bench stepped up, role players contributed meaningfully, and the coaching staff made key adjustments. Every victory like this reinforces that the team has resilience and adaptability, two traits that are crucial in a grueling Western Conference. Wins over teams like Phoenix, even without perfect execution, build confidence and provide a template for how the team can overcome adversity. Buddy Hield, Moses Moody, Pat Spencer, Quentin Post, and even players like Kuminga are all pieces of a puzzle that, when aligned properly, could make the Warriors not just competitive, but a legitimate threat in the postseason. Each brings something unique: shooting, defensive tenacity, playmaking, or floor management. The challenge will be maintaining consistency, finding the right rotations, and ensuring that the bench and starters complement each other. Tonight was proof that when this happens, the team can thrive even in moments of uncertainty. As the Warriors move forward, the key will be balancing minutes, adjusting to injuries, and trusting both stars and role players to execute. Games like this provide insight into what works, what needs refinement, and who can be relied upon in high-pressure moments. The growth isn't just individual. It's collective, with each player understanding their role and contributing to a broader team identity. Even in imperfect performances, the ability to win is what matters, and Golden State demonstrated that skillfully tonight. This is exactly the type of game that can set the tone for the rest of the season, showing the potential for depth, resilience, and strategic execution across the roster. Finally, there's a sense that the Warriors are starting to establish an identity again. The mixture of young, energetic players like Kuminga and Moody, combined with reliable veterans like Curry and Draymond, and role players like Post and Spencer, creates a system where everyone knows their responsibilities. It's not flawless. There are still stretches of sloppy execution, moments where rotations could be improved, and games where the stars don't hit their shots, but there's clear progress. This is a team that can find multiple ways to win, adjust on the fly, and rely on a combination of talent, strategy, and resilience to carry them through. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. Heavy tension is brewing in the NBA as the league's latest buzz revolves around Domantas Sabonis and his controversial comments ahead of his team's matchup against the Golden State Warriors. Sources close to the locker room say that Sabonis, known for his calm demeanor and measured approach on the court, has allegedly made remarks that have ignited a firestorm among fans and analysts alike. While the exact phrasing remains unclear, insiders claim that the All-Star center hinted at underlying frustrations within his team, with subtle jabs that some interpret as criticism of coaching strategies or teammates' performance. The Warriors, always a lightning rod for media attention, are now at the center of this swirling speculation. Social media has exploded with clips, quotes, and hot takes as supporters of both sides dissect Sabonis' every word. Some fans argue that the comments were taken out of context, pointing to the player's history of professionalism and team-first mentality. Others, however, suggest that this could mark a turning point in team dynamics, especially with high-stakes games looming in the playoffs. Analysts are divided. While some see Sabonis' remarks as a motivational tactic aimed at rallying his squad, others warn that public tension could destabilize team chemistry at a critical juncture. What is certain is that the Warriors, a team renowned for their fast-paced offense and championship pedigree. We'll be closely watching how SABONIS and his teammates handle the situation on the court. Rumors are now swirling about potential locker room meetings, private apologies, and even subtle adjustments to the lineup to defuse the tension. Pundits speculate that the psychological battle off the court could rival the physical matchup on it, making this encounter one of the most anticipated and talked about games of the season. As the NBA world waits with bated breath, one question remains. Will Sabonis' comments spark a rejuvenated performance or signal deeper cracks in his team's foundation? The coming game against the Warriors promises fireworks, both in play and in personality, and the basketball community is unlikely to stop buzzing anytime soon. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.